Megan thinks that I tend to go for the joke rather than the truth when I'm in a conversation, and that's because I'm afraid of her.
Not true.
My name is Craig Ferguson. I am a stand-up comedian, an actor, a writer, and a talk show host.
Darling.
I'm also the husband of a very beautiful and clever woman called Megan Ferguson.
Max?
She is my best friend and the love of my life.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we agree on everything. I sometimes wonder if we agree on anything.
It's not like you say, oh, that guy's a
psychopathy. You can't say, oh, it's
you don't say he's a psychopath.
13 years ago, we started a conversation, and it has never stopped.
Still going?
Yeah, I think you're wrong.
Oh.
Yes.
Sometimes it stops for a bit, you know, for sleeping.
In this program, we try really hard to get new perspectives on our discussions.
Food is the new internet. You'll make it plenty of money.
The universe is alive within us.
Whoa, this is magical.
We reach our conclusions by getting the facts straight from the horse's mouth. And by horse's mouth, I mean experts, not an actual horse.
Hi.
Oh.
Obviously.
Always talk to me. We're always so free. We hold each other like we're building on a great empire. So far this is like waiting on a fire.
Sickening, doesn't it?
Yes, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being too busy all the time. I'm sick of like, oh, I have to do that. Oh, I have to do that. I thought when I finished in late night, I was going to be less busy.
Right. I feel like you've been actually more busy.
I thought I was going to like go for long walks with my Labrador, my golden Labrador. I don't have a golden Labrador. I know. I thought the idea was when you finish doing something, you go, now I can really relax and feel
But you don't.
I don't know. I just feel like, you know, the old idea of being successful was like you get a good job, you make some money, you have a nice house, you live in a nice house with a nice person and nice children, your offspring, you have fruit, you have your own fruit
bowl.
You know, and everything is great, just fucking great.
But you're up to your eyes in bullshit all the time.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very
No, it
successful
doesn't.
at all. I don't know if I feel more or less successful than I did when I was 25 years old.
Well, what does success feel like to you?
I don't know. What does it feel like to you?
I kind of don't know anymore.
Like
Does
what-
it change? Does success change?
It's a weird kind of game that you play with yourself, I think, because, you know, traveling the country, playing in different venues every night, getting to meet girls that I don't know every night, it does not appeal to me anymore. But that was success at one point. Well, it's kind of like you just keep moving the bar up. You're like, well, I'll be fine when I get that.
Right.
And then you get that and you go, oh, now I have to get that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's right. There has to be more to life than this, said Bjork.
Do you think there's someone we can ask?
Yes, but not Bjork.
No. Although her answer would be great.
Yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah.
Ain't no something over, no more trying hard, it's free. I ain't on fire, dancing on
I think Arianna Huffington is a very good choice to talk to about success because Arianna has been very successful. So it makes sense. She's clever, she's accomplished, she's rich, which means the world thinks she's successful. She does what she wants to do on her own terms. And I think that's successful. And she talks about success and the challenges and perhaps benefits that come with it. I'm going to ring the door and run away and leave you on your own.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Why don't we just leave him?
So, someone who's open and forthright about success, that's the right choice. Right.
Don't really do that.
No, I don't have any dog
Sorry.
food.
Welcome.
Wow! You must have been standing by the door.
I couldn't wait.
Hello, sweetheart. Have you met Megan?
Hello.
Lovely to meet you,
Wonderful to
Megan.
meet you.
It's
He's
great to have
very
you in my
nice.
home.
It's lovely.
Thank
You know, I
for
met
having
your
us.
husband in 2005. When did you meet your husband?
2005.
What a coincidence. We
Let's
have
go
to
find
talk
him.
about it.
We will.
Arianna Huffington is a Greek-American author and businesswoman who was the co-founder and editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post. Always outspoken, To some, controversial, but either way, highly successful and listed as one of the most influential women in the world. But it all came, as it often does, with a cost. After collapsing from exhaustion, she asked herself, is this really what success should feel like? Is money and power really the definition of success if you are too busy and burnt out to enjoy it? How do we turn things around to also feel truly successful?
This actually is quite interesting to me because I have this theory about what we came here to talk to you about, which is success, right? Now, success as defined by a 16-year-old boy in Scotland is different maybe than what a 55-year-old man defines as success in California.
Right.
I don't really know if I know what it is because I know what it was when I was a kid, what I wanted to achieve, but I'm not sure if I A, achieved it, or B, it works.
I'm very interested in what is a successful life.
Okay.
Because I feel that we have shrunken that definition down to money and status/power. And that's deeply unfortunate.
What do you define as a
So for me,
success?
a successful life has to include beyond those two things. I mean, we're living in a material world, being financially successful and having a place in society, fine, but I think these are two metrics. And the third metric, which is like the third leg of a stool, otherwise you fall off sooner or later, for me consists of these four key ingredients. One is your well-being. You know, if you are completely burnt out, you affect your health, you walk around like a zombie because you don't sleep or you don't eat right, or all the things that we know go into a healthy life.
Right.
You know, what is that success?
Right.
The other thing is wisdom. I really believe that we all have this centered place of wisdom in us.
Okay.
I think being able to access it and make good decisions from that place is, for me, another aspect of a successful life. The third thing is wonder. You know, I think we're missing out the wonder of life. You know, the fact that there's an incredible mystery about life. Yeah. And sometimes being in nature or watching a baby being born or reading poetry kind of helps you rediscover that sense of wonder. And finally, giving. A life that doesn't include some form of giving is a very stilted life. So these are, for me, all elements that go into what I would define as a successful life.
I remember when I was a kid, actually, you did a show on British television at night.
That was a complete failure.
It was, I remember.
It was like, it was such a devastating flop.
Yeah, I've had plenty too. I'm not trying to lord it over you.
Let me tell you, you did not have such a flop, because I remember my first interview. I was the interviewer, and I interviewed Terence Stamp. Remember the actor?
Yes, yeah, no, he is, yeah.
And he basically answered every question I posed in completely monosyllabic fashion.
Yeah, he's a shocking interview anyway. He's a very good actor, but I would never interview him anyway.
And this was my first interview,
that's
and
bad.
on top of it, people made horrendous fun of my accent.
Oh, dear.
I mean, I've had plenty of failures.
Yes,
but
me too, yeah.
There are certain failures which kind of, when you mention it, I can still feel it.
Yeah. Is that one of them?
That's one of them.
Because it's an early one, do you think?
Because it was so early.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because really, I hadn't had any... I mean, I had a book which was very successful that I published at 23, but that was such a public humiliation.
Yeah, but that's the nature of...
But do you think that failure is key to success?
Yes, I really do. And my mother brought me up to believe that. She used to say, failure is not the opposite of success, it's a stepping stone to success.
Right.
Right.
How do you move past that? What did you do?
Well, what I did actually is I locked myself up and wrote a book I really wanted to write about the crisis in political leadership, which nobody wanted to publish or read. So I wrote this book, which was rejected by 36 publishers, and by which time I ran out of the money I had made with my first book.
Right.
And I lived in London at the time, and I was walking down St. James's Street, I remember very well, thinking it was time for me to change careers, that clearly my first book I thought was a fluke, and I was not meant to be a writer. And I saw in the corner a Barclays bank. So something made me walk in, and asked to see the manager and asked for an overdraft. Remember they called them overdrafts?
An overdraft, yeah.
But I had no assets. And for some reason, this manager, whose name is Ian Bell, and I still send him a holiday card every year, gave me an overdraft, which made it possible for me to keep my life together for a few more months, by which time I got an acceptance.
You're talking about someone who had faith in you, basically, right? This is
based
a man
on
who,
not very much.
I think is an interesting component of success is finding someone, anyone,
Yes.
who says it's going to be okay
Right.
here.
Yes.
Who believes in you and
Yeah.
supports you a bit. A bolster.
I really believe that. Also, if you think of it in terms of fairy tales, you know how often in fairy tales, when the hero or heroine is lost in a dark forest, you suddenly have these helpful animals coming out.
Yeah, bank managers from
bank
Barclays
managers,
coming
yeah.
out of
in London.
I thought the
Take
bank
some money,
manager-
Arianna. You'll be all right. Here, take some money, girl. You'll be fine. You're very
Yeah.
clever. You'll sell your book. Go on.
I really believe that. It's
Yeah, I
like-
think so
I do too.
She's the one, have a fear. She can suddenly reappear. Without sound.
Do you want me to tweet you?
Sure.
I'll tweet you something.
Tweet me, text me.
Yeah, I'll text you
Instagram
something.
me,
I don't know.
See how many likes I get.
No, I was actually just looking at how rich Sean Diddy Combs was worth.
That's useful information.
Well, I didn't know it.
Do you think that we could unplug from social media?
I've never counted how long I'm on the phone on any given day, but
I haven't either.
it's probably not good.
No, it's probably pretty bad. But I think you're on it way more than I am.
What are you talking about? I only have Twitter. You have Twitter, Instagram, whatever.
I don't have any of those things.
You're on Instagram all the time.
Instagram, yes. I look at pictures of other people's, like, thighs and feel bad about mine.
Why don't you look at pictures of people whose thighs you do not covet and feel good about yours? It's all perspective.
But do you think social media does that? I definitely think that social media gives kind of a false picture of what success is, other people's success. It seems to be, first of all, really image-based. Like, here's me with my face mask and my cat. Who needs to see that?
Well, exactly.
Who needs to like that?
Then shut it down. Does that make you feel uncomfortable?
It does a little bit, and that makes me angry.
Well, maybe you've got a problem. The problem is, it's not the phone that's the problem. There's a phone in the house. In reality, if anybody wanted to get us, they should just call that phone.
Yeah.
But they don't. People don't want to even call each other. It's a text. Hey, text me back. I'm driving a 2.5-ton car
Yes.
on the 101 freeway,
Yeah, going
which is
70 miles an hour.
Which is basically like being in
Yeah.
a Mad Max movie, and then it's like, oh, and I've got to get on and
Yeah.
text you a picture of my lunch or crotch.
Or-
Oh, I like your lunch.
I like your
and
crotch.
He toot, pitoot, or whatever it is. I don't know. I don't speak Swedish. Except in the bedroom.
That's so creepy.
You're talking about public humiliation at a young age, which is interesting to me because nowadays it's no longer just, the young girl who's starting out. Everybody is subjected to that on social media too soon. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like it's too much
all the
too
time.
soon.
And that's one of the major problems with social media, that so many young people, before they really develop their own identity, are basing their self-worth and their validation
Right.
on what people say on social media or on how many likes the picture of their salad got. And
Yeah, that's right. Do you think it's dangerous to allow other people to define success?
absolutely. And I think it's the expectations game.
Right.
And again, what society expects of us and buying into these expectations and looking over our shoulder for approval. And of course, that has always been part of living in society. But I think social media have dramatically exacerbated it.
Right.
Right.
Because
I agree.
Social media most of the time present somebody's glamorous image
Somebody's
of
highlight
themselves.
reel.
The highlight reel. And it's rare that they present, you know, the agonies and the
failures.
And the failures.
I think also, and I wonder if you would agree or not, my feeling is unless you recognize in yourself the success you've had, then you haven't had any.
Oh, absolutely. I think that is so true. Because so often we're constantly looking at what's around the corner, what's the next hill to climb.
Right.
And we don't give ourselves any gratitude, really, for where we are and where we got to. That's
So
why, for me, gratitude is so key.
That is,
yes,
but I think...
absolutely. But in terms of health and success, when did you most feel successful? You had an accident when you collapsed from exhaustion,
Yes.
running around trying to keep up with this life. Did you find that that was a catalyst for health versus success?
That was, and you know, I don't see it as versus.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. First of all, 2007, 10 years ago, actually 2 years after I met you on the show.
I have that effect on women.
I collapsed.
Yeah,
Took
yeah.
me 2
But
years.
2 years later, it was
I'm
delayed reaction.
I'm sure some women collapse much faster, but I mean,
We do.
what
Everybody's
can you do?
different, Arianna. Don't be hard on
I know
yourself.
you have a different impact on different women. So 2 years after that, I literally, in my office here in this house, I stood up to go and get a sweater because I was feeling cold, and I collapsed and hit my head on my desk, broke my cheekbone. And that was basically the result, as all the doctors I visited told me, because, you know, when something like that happens out of the blue, they think, do you have a brain tumor?
Right. Yeah.
Do you have a heart problem? And at the end of all these endless doctor visits, I was diagnosed with burnout.
Right.
And as a Belgian philosopher put it, burnout is modern civilization's disease.
Yes.
And hundreds of millions of people around the world are burnt out. Literally, they walk around every day perpetually tired, perpetually depleted, and think, well, that's the price you have to pay for success. And
Running on inertia all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
And to your point, whether it's health versus success, what is fascinating is that all modern science proves now unequivocally what ancient wisdom has told us, which is that, in fact, when we take care of ourselves, we are more effective, we are more productive, we are more creative, and we are healthier, which also has an impact on success. So there is no trade-off.
How do we avoid burnout? What we can all suffer from just the avalanche that comes at us every day.
So the first thing is that we need to recognize that we have been living under this collective delusion for decades now, that in order to succeed, we have to burn out. Oh. It's a real delusion, and most of us have been living under it. I actually was fascinated. I wanted to trace it, like when did we start believing something so patently false? Mm-hmm. And it goes back to the first industrial revolution, when we became fascinated by machines. Mm-hmm. And if you think of it, the goal of a machine is to minimize downtime.
Right.
So we thought, well, that has to be the goal of
human beings.
Of human beings. But in the human operating system, downtime is not a bug, it's a feature. Right. Like we need downtime. Even in the sort of story of the creation, you know, God created heaven and earth in 6 days, and then Megan, she took the 7th day off, right?
She took a break.
You know, clearly God didn't need that day off, because if God is omnipotent and omnipresent and everything,
right.
You know, God could have kept going, but it was a message to humanity.
Right.
So the first thing is changing our belief system, because if we continue to believe that in order to succeed, you have to be always on, you have to work 24/7. And look at our language. We congratulate people for working 24/7.
Yeah.
That's true.
We say things like, Craig is amazing, you know, he responds to my texts immediately. Mm-hmm. And so
you can always get a hold of them.
That's great. I think that's fantastic.
But saying you can always get a hold of them.
Yeah, so we need to change, you know, the things we celebrate. Mm-hmm. One of the things we're working on is to launch an app that turns your smartphone into a damn phone. Like right now, we could all put our phones in a power down mode, and if somebody texts me, they'd get a text back. Arianna is powered down until 7 p.m. And so it begins, it's a bi-directional message.
I'll buy that right now
I
from
know,
you.
I would
I'll
do it immediately.
Put me in your beta testing right
Yeah.
now.
Right, I'll do that.
I'm serious.
And the
want
other
that.
thing that it does is it will give you a mirror of your social media consumption.
Right.
So it would say, for example, Megan, you know, at the end of the week, you spent 7.5 hours on Instagram this week.
Right.
And then,
Which is entirely possible, by the way.
and then it could make a suggestion, like May would suggest you cut it down to 6.5. And if you agree, then it will give you warnings, and at 6.5, it will cut you off.
That's genius. I
The whole
love
point is that we all need some help.
Right.
Because we are all addicted
Yeah.
to a small or a large extent. I think our phones have become the new nicotine. It's the new cigarette, except it's worse because it has a lot of valuable functions too, so we
Right.
can't entirely give it up, unlike, you know, cigarettes or alcohol. And also that we start so young. Why we don't let our children start drinking?
I know.
Right.
When I was a kid, my mother used to say, if you watch too much television, you'll get square eyes. And she was wrong. I think the way my parents' generation thought about television is the way my generation feels about smartphones. Like, oh, if you play that too much, you'll go crazy. But you can spend too much time on a smartphone. I guess Milo is 16, he has a phone, but he's good with it. He's smarter than his phone. I guess that's what you have to be, smarter than your phone.
Well, it's interesting you bring up alcohol. You know my history with alcohol
Yes.
is, you know, I stopped drinking 25 years ago. And what I have noticed is when I try and remove myself from the phone, the discomfort I feel is very familiar.
Yeah,
I've walked down this road before.
The overwhelming symptoms of addiction, you experience restlessness, irritability, and discontent. So, I would put it to you that if you put down your phone and you start to experience restlessness, irritability, and discontent by not using your phone, that would seem to be symptomatic of some form of addiction. I'm not a doctor, but it sounds similar.
The first symptoms of addiction, the primary symptom of any addiction is, weirdly enough, the denial of the fact that it exists in the first place.
Yes.
So you
Right.
say, that's ridiculous, I'm not addicted to my phone. Then give it up.
Right.
And if you can't answer that question, like, sure, fine, and throw it out the window, then you are.
There's a
Right,
problem.
or even give it up for a day.
Right.
And it affects everyone. There's no specific person, an alcoholic.
Exactly, it does
Everybody,
affect
children
everyone to
Right.
different degrees.
Right.
It's not even like it was when I was drinking, like the use of it. It's the trying to not do it. It's the
Right.
weird games that you play with yourself,
Yes.
which is, I don't have a problem.
An
This
odd
is
delusion.
so stupid. This is oh, come on, this is ridiculous. And it begins with, I'll just check my texts.
Right.
Which, you know, is the same as going into a bar and saying, I'm just going to have one.
Yeah.
You know, I'll have a shandy, and then, you know, it's 5 days later and I'm in a shallow grave in Bogota. You know, I mean, it's
Totally delusional.
it is, but it's the drip of addiction is not. I think addiction is portrayed as a large, dramatic event.
It's not.
And I don't think it is. I think it is. It's a
daily thing.
slow grind, a slow burnout to the end.
And I think a lot of social media companies know how to manipulate that addiction. I mean, if you think of it, a like, what is a like?
Right.
It's like something that,
What is
takes,
it
that
anyway?
takes somebody less than a second, so it's not exactly a meaningful indication of approval. And yet people obsess over it, and they wonder why
More
that
likes,
picture
more likes. Yeah,
didn't
like
get
a
as
rat
many
at the
likes.
little
Yeah.
saccharine thing in the lab.
People have notifications every time they get a like. Can you imagine that your life is constantly interrupted every time some random person likes your picture or follows you?
Yeah, that's absurd.
So it's like
absurd
it
when
is
you
absurd,
when you
but
say it
it's
out loud.
Spell it out,
millions
yeah.
of people have that.
Oh yeah, we've all seen it. That.
I think that, you know, having people like your photographs on social media, I've fallen into this. I got bewitched by it. I'm not anymore. It's silly. Someone you haven't seen for 10 years liking your lunch, it's
It has no value to me.
Social media absolutely does that to me, where I'm compare and despair. It just creates its own wicked little world inside of your head. Am I addicted to being online and looking at these different apps? No, I wouldn't go so far as to say that, but I definitely see traits. I can put my phone down, but I don't like to. It just is a slippery slope. So am I addicted? No, but I could definitely see some of the, I guess, hallmark things of traits of addiction and starting to feel bad about myself when I use it.
But what is the need? What do you think the need is in us? Why do we need success? Why do we need to look bigger than we are? Is it connected to fear? Is it just plain old insecurity? What is it?
Well, I think the more dependent we are on some external definition of success, it means the more connected we are with ourselves.
Right.
Because if you think of the people we all most admire, whether it's Nelson Mandela or Eleanor Roosevelt or Gandhi.
That famous collection of what he owned when he died.
Yes.
His sandals, his spectacles, and, and just, I mean,
exactly.
No material success.
Success for them, had to do with their values and what their life was about and what they brought to the world. And, even without going to these incredible examples in history, for me, it's like we need to give up other people's definition of success.
Yes.
And find out what is it for me, what is it for Megan, what is it for you, and honor our own personal definition of success.
Yes.
Yeah. I've met a lot of what the world would consider successful people, and it doesn't seem to follow any correlation that whether successful people are more happy or not. I think success is different for everybody, and I think if you allow the outside world or you allowed anyone else to define what success is for you, then it's never going to make you happy. I think that the overwhelming kind of thing that I took from it is that it probably is a good idea to be easier on yourself and not kind of try and frantically be right or be, 100% efficient. Just take it easy a little bit, a little more mañana.
I do think that the prevailing, advice to take is that when you do slow down, when you are kinder to yourself, you are more productive in your life, whatever you're doing.
Also, beyond a certain point, how fucking productive do you need to be?
That's true.
Less.
Slow down. It'll get done. It's okay. Multitasking is not as efficient as it may seem.